American Graffiti. Where were you in '62?
Special one and jump into your candy-colored custom or your screaming machine, cruise downtown and catch American Graffiti.
American Graffiti. Baby, what's that?
It's a movie.
And you dig it, and you dig it.
Go back in time.
Where were you in '62?
Is that you in that beautiful car? Jeez, what a waste of machinery.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
What did you say? Someone wants me. Someone roaming the streets wants me.
And I bet you're smart enough to get us some brew.
A ballpoint pen, a pint of Old Harper.
Okay, you got an ID for the liquor?
No, I left it in the car.
You'll have to get it before.
Oh, well, I forgot the car. We're finally getting out of this turkey camp. You just can't stay 17 forever. You ever get tired of going steady with somebody that ain't around? I'm up for grabs.
If I had a boyfriend, he'd pound you.
What's wrong?
Go to hell.
Get your boogaloos out, baby. The Wolfman is everywhere.
16 candles. You know Toby Juarez? We killed him last night.
Excuse me, I think we've had an accident.
Well, I won't report you this time, but next time just watch it, will you?
Can't stand it, man. I can dig it.
It's one of those great old movies about romance, racing, and rock and roll.
Oh, American Graffiti. American Graffiti. Where were you in '62?
Welcome to another movie review, and today I'm going to be reviewing American Graffiti. Coming out in 1973, but is set in 1962. It follows a bunch of friends: Kurt, played by Richard Dreyfuss; Steve, played by Ronnie Howard; Terry, played by Charles Martin Smith; and John, played by Paul Lee Matt, hanging out in the streets of a small town in California. Basically, the whole plot is them just going around doing basic teen stuff, getting into trouble, picking up girls, driving their cars around, listening to music. The plot's very straightforward in this, and it's very simple, but the movie has lots of twists and turns that make it interesting. And talking about the film's B story, one of the characters from American Graffiti, Curtis Henderson, played by Richard Dreyfuss, was an aspiring writer. On September night in 1962, Kurt was a little indecisive about his decisions on wanting to go to college. After he graduated high school, which probably would have been the next year, during this night, he pursued an elusive blonde who was flirting with him in another car next to him when he was driving with his friends. And this led him to ending up running into a gang called the Pharaohs, who persuaded him to basically help them with a lot of their criminal activity. Another main character that we see in this movie is Steve, played by Ron Howard. He's kind of like the, preppy kid in the group.
After all we went through to get accepted, we're finally getting out of this turkey town, and now you want to crawl back into your cell, right?
Preparing for his future and his relationship with his girlfriend Lori, the story kind of explores his struggles to decide if he wants to leave town or if he wants to attend college once he graduates high school, or if he wants to remain in Modesto which is the town they live in this movie. In the film, which is set in 1958, he drives a Chevrolet Bel Air Impala, a modified hot rod, which basically symbolizes his inner desire to want to break free from the small town that he's living in with his friends. And you kind of see that a lot with the other characters with him, especially his friends, where they all want to try to break free of this town and live their own life outside of the town.
Good luck. Stay cool, man. You probably think you're a big shot going off like this, but you're still a punk.
Another aspect that I really like in this film are the cars. The directors really did their research when they went out and got the cars for when they filmed this movie. They got all types of cars, from a Chevrolet Impala, Ford Thunderbird, 1951 Mercury, a 1932 Ford Coupe, a 1955 Chevy, a Chevrolet 150, a Kit Roan 2CV, Edsel Corsair, a Deuce Coupe, which was very popular at the time, Volkswagen Beetle convertible, and a Chevy Sport Coupe. Another character that I'd like to talk about in the film, John Milner, played by Paul Lee Matt. John Milner is the third character in the group of the three main protagonists in the film American Graffiti. He held the title of the town Modesto's undisputed drag racing champion, and he was basically the greaser of the group, kind of like the rebel in these guys' group of friends. And it's interesting because usually, especially back then, it's kind of strange seeing like these three kids hanging out with this guy's like a greaser who's completely different than the three other kids who are like preppies and like nerds. And it's kind of an interesting contrast because usually back then, most kids tended to stick with kids that were more similar to each other. And usually, the greasers wouldn't have been hanging out with these kind of kids. But, I mean, you never know. You know, some kids could have been friends then. But they don't really show much that... They don't really show what he is interested in trying to do in this. He's not, like, trying to, like, break free of the talent his other friends are. And I think they even show at the end, like, he ends up, like, dying later on because he gets into, like, a car accident with, like, some drunk driver. Another character in American Graffiti who I would like to talk about is Terry.
What a babe. What a bitchin' babe.
In the 1973 film American Graffiti, Terry the Toad Fields, a socially awkward, geeky friend to the three main characters, plays a significant role. Terry is known for his love of cars and his tendency to get into a lot of trouble. Decides to use Steve's 1958 Chevrolet Impala to pick up Debbie, a naive blonde girl. He later on in the film becomes involved in a situation where he loses Steve's car and tries to get it back, resulting in an encounter with the thieves who stole the car. Terry's character ultimately highlights his journey of self-discovery and his eventual departure from his hometown and his friends.
Good luck. Yeah, same to you.
Oh, Buck.
Oh. Stay cool, man. And, don't do anything I wouldn't do. I know, you probably think you're a big shot going off like this.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this film from like start to finish. The whole atmosphere in this movie was really great. They really got the whole like 50s atmosphere down to like the cars, to the characters, to like the way the kids act and like the different types of like teenagers and stuff. And the whole story was like really great. And it's the kind of movie that I could definitely watch like multiple times and not get bored with it. The directing was really good. The script writing was very good. And they did a very good job of like editing and all that. And the ending of the movie was pretty great. They did a good job at kind of like wrapping the movie up, but kind of having it open-ended enough where they could do a sequel, and they actually did end up doing a sequel later on called More American Graffiti, which is a funny, interesting choice for a sequel title. Instead of like American Graffiti 2, they call it More American Graffiti, which is kind of, I thought was kind of funny. And yeah, they did an awesome job at recreating the 50s culture and the setting for that era with like all the cars. They had like loads of different types of cars that they would have had back in the day. All types of like those like 50s cars, and down to like the way the kids dressed were pretty accurate. From watching the film, it looked like their costumes were pretty accurate for what they were wearing and what people were wearing back then in that era in the 50s. And even like the dialogue to like how they were talking and stuff in places they hang out like a malt shop or something, and all that, like the whole entire atmosphere was like spot on. They did a really good job at recreating the 1950s era with all the teenagers and the way they would have interacted with each other, the way they would have acted, the way they would have talked, and the way the culture was at that time. And they didn't really touch on like some of the more touchy stuff, like kind of like the racist stuff that was going on then. This is more just like, you know, a fun film, just showing just like the typical like teen culture back then in the 50s. And, or I guess this was actually the 60s, the early 60s. But it was still kind of like coming out of the 50s era. So they still had like the 50s style, but it was like, you know, the early 60s. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Definitely recommend it. Definitely give it a 5-star for this film. I definitely watched this like 100 times. This is probably one of the best films I've seen, like, period. It's not like my number one favorite film, but I thought it was really good. I definitely enjoyed watching the whole film. It was, you know, it was a great movie, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And that's probably all that I can say for this film. It was pretty good. Definitely give it a 5-star rating. And that's it for today's video, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit notification bell, and bye.
We're finally getting out of this turkey town, and now you want to crawl back into your cell, right?